All right, we on? Let's roll. I feel like I need a Dr. Phil intro. You know, and then heavy guitar. Okay, should have thought about that earlier. Now going to look in the system if we've got it. Just give me one quick second. Talk amongst yourselves. Dr. Phil. Oh my God, it's here! Oh, is this it? It's only 4 seconds.
Let's just whip her ass.
Oh, it's not what I was after. Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to YouTube it. 1 second, please. So, I'll tell you what's on the episode today. My name's Christian Hull. This is Complete Drivel. It's a podcast that, as you've already been able to tell, is complete shit. Or complete drivel, hence the name. Wow, that's really uneventful. What am I talking about today? Car accidents. So I got a message from Matt, who is a friend, was a special friend, if you catch my drift. And he was like, talk about your car accidents, you moron. And I was like, all right, talk about those. Oh my God, I had the best, most embarrassing moment at a shop called Coach. Now, I've never heard of it before, but it sells like handbags, leather goods, like very... Is it upmarket? It looks really upmarket. You walk in there, it's very posh. I'm going to say yes, it is upmarket, and the bags are really expensive. And I was in there with a friend, and she was having a look around, and not that embarrassing, but in amongst all the posh people, so embarrassing. Like to be seen by the wealthy community, and then to be asked. Oh my God, it's pretty funny. And I'm also talking about someone wanted to know if I'd ever been to a sauna. And I'm not talking about just the sauna at the gym, just pop in. Although the saunas at the gyms can be pretty raunchy. No, this was a specific sauna for the gays. And it was awful, and I want to tell you about it. But I do want to find the Dr. Phil theme first. Now, is that... Okay. Sorry, I'm pushing all buttons here. Okay, so I have to go into the internet. Oh no, unable to connect the internet. YouTube. Trust me, guys, this will be so worth it. Yes, I'm on. Okay, just 1 second. Dr. Phil theme. I need the Dr. Phil theme. And then I'll tell you about my car. Oh, here it is. Oh my God, this is it. Oh my God. Why is it not playing? Yes! Take control of your life! Oh my God. Isn't this the most inspirational music? I feel like I've already played this on a podcast before. Here we go. When does it do the breakdown? Hold on. It does its thing. And then I'll stop it. And then... Oh my God, this is so great. Here we go. Hold on, here we go. Tonight on Dr. Phil. Oh my God, I've always wanted to be the voiceover for Dr. Phil, even though he's his own voiceover. This week on Dr. Phil, Cassie. Oh, I just need to think of really bogan people. Like, just Dr. Phil is just really bogan people. Oh my God, this... Oh, I love it so much. Anyway, I'm really glad I did that. Wasn't worth it, but it was so worth it for me. How many minutes have I been in now? Oh, 4 minutes in, and we've totally discussed absolutely nothing. 4 minutes of utter shit. I love this. This is like literally my favourite thing to do, is to just come into the studio and do this absolutely moronic podcast that is for nobody. It's literally for nobody. It's me talking shit. It's just shit. Here we go. Oh, yes! God, I feel so manly when I hear that theme. Hold on, I have to hit pause, otherwise it's going to just keep going. Okay. Okay, car accidents. This is the hard part of having a self-diagnosed early onset dementia, is that sometimes I don't know what I've spoken about. I've done 65 episodes of this shit. This utter shit. I've done 65 and I don't know what I've discussed. And a friend of mine said, talk about your car accidents and the cars you've had. And I was like, I think I may have already done that. But let's do it again anyway. I have a guest in studio and they just burped. It definitely was not me. Even though on the video that I'm filming, you'll be able to clearly tell it was me. All right, let's have a sip of coffee. Can I get to... Hold on. Oh my God. Can I get to 6 minutes without actually discussing any content? This is so fun. Oh, I made a coffee from the coffee machine. Oh, it's got a chunk. And there was some Ice Magic sitting on the table. So I put the Ice Magic in the milk. You know, it's got the heady, frothy thing. It does that. And then I put the Ice Magic in that. And then I made a mocha. I know. A genius. Oh, there's 6 minutes. 6 minutes of no content. I love that. 6 minutes of no content. All right. Can I make it 7? Just kidding. Okay, so when I first started to drive, I had a Volvo. My parents wouldn't let me have any other car than a Volvo. Forgive me if I've already said this. Again, early onset dementia. I have no idea what the last 65 podcasts I just spoke about. So they would only let me drive a Volvo, 1, because it was safe, and 2, because it was safe. And I initially was like, oh, can't I just get I don't know. This is showing how gay I am. I have no idea. That stereotype. I don't know about cars. What's another car? I don't know. Volkswagen. No, we didn't want that. Just a little tiny car that was easy to drive. No, my parents made me buy a champagne-coloured Volvo. And it was the most horrific car to look at. And it looked like I was a 70-year-old man. But it was the safest car. It also, I never had you could never tell I'd had an accident in it because Volvos are like a tank. They're the closest thing you can get to a tank. And I drove it into the side of a building. I parked myself in a supermarket. And the parking spot was so tight that to reverse out, I had to reverse out on a slight angle to get around this weird cornery McDoobie thing. But I had to physically scrape the side of the car on a pole to get out. But the story of me hitting a building, I really honestly think I've already told this, but I'm going to tell it again, is I was dropping my cousin home when I was living in Sydney. I would have been about 21, 22, and she lived right in the city. She lived on Foveaux Street in Surrey Hills. And so I drove her in. She was sitting in the back because we had a whole bunch of shit in the passenger seat. She was an artist and we had all of her stuff. So I was driving her home and I got to her building. And now I'm talking away, we're just having a great old chat. I can see her in the rear vision mirror. We're having a good old yarn. And what I assume is the building's driveway, I see out of the corner of my eye, indicate and turn. Now, I was so busy talking to her that I wasn't really paying any attention to anything. And what I didn't realize was I mounted the curb. I mean, that first of all, that wasn't a clear indication that maybe this wasn't the driveway. I mounted the curb and kept driving. And then I just drove straight into the building. I hit in this Volvo. Now, at the point of impact, I realised I'd done something bad. And I was very embarrassed. But I didn't want to show Michelle, my cousin, that I was mortified. So I kept talking about the subject I was talking about and looking at her in the mirror. And she looked like she was going to pass out. And so I hit the side, it was pretty hard. It was 3 seconds. So it was Foveaux Street, Foveaux Street, Foveaux Street. Oh, here's your entranceway. Wasn't. Mount the curb, boom! And then I was and then what I did was I cooked the bachelor things and the what's-its. I'm still talking to her. Put it in reverse. And then the fry pan didn't even cook. And I put it in reverse. And I was looking out the rear vision mirror. And then what you actually have to do is add the sesame oil and over us back out on Foveaux Street. And then it's the sesame oil that makes the seasoning perfect, and kept driving. And so I'd pretended in my head that nothing had happened. But I'd just driven into the side of her building. I think the driveway was actually another 10, 15 metres up ahead, and I just turned too early. Thank God there was no pedestrians. So I then turned into the proper entrance, dropped her off, and watched her go up the stairs. We didn't say, but the funny thing is, we didn't say anything. Like, neither of us acknowledged the fact that I just ran into the side of her. It's like in a big apartment building. And so I watched her get her stuff and go away and just disappear. And then then the panic was like, I've totaled my car. Like, it was a loud bang. And I just knew there was a huge dent. But as Michelle walked away, she did turn to look at the car. And I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing, she can see it. She walked and she had a weird look on her face when she saw, where the building had this impact on my Volvo. And I had yet to see it. So I waited for her to go. And I was like, bye, Michelle. Don't forget sesame oil for this evening. Nothing happened. Nothing. Oh, God, she's gone. And I got out of the car to assess the damage. Now, I got around the front of the Volvo and I just was staring at it. And I just looked at it and went, oh, my God. This impact sounded so massive. Like, it was like, dude! And I was looking at the front of my Volvo and I could not see a single dent, scratch, indentation, anything in the front of the car. And I just went, I love you, champagne-coloured Volvo, who I had called Volvina. I know, right? Genius name. I'm driving Volvina, the Volvo. So Volvina, not a dent on her. And then I went up closer. I went up really close and there was the tiniest little in the front bumper, like so tiny, like literally I had to look right in and I just assumed it was from the building. Like, I'd never seen it before and I had a pretty big impact. So I'm going to say, oh, that's all that happened. So I reverse out of the driveway and I go to drive home. Now I have to drive back past where I basically hit. And as I was driving past, I looked at the building. Oh dear. And I had left a little signature in the shape of a 2-meter. It's basically, so it was a rendered building, brick rendering, and it was like a blue colour. And what had happened was the Volvo, almost like foam, had hit the render, and the exact point of impact of the render, as I reversed out, fell out. So all there was this beautiful blue rendering and this rectangular spot where the render had just crumpled and then fallen on the ground. And then you could see the exposed brick. And I just had a laugh, gave it a wave and drove on. And my Volvina signature was on that building for 18 months before someone plastered it back up. Now, it wasn't the greatest of buildings. It was cheap and it was old, but still 18 months, that indentation sat in there on Favo Street. I was so proud of that because my cousin owned a gallery in the building. It was like a old school, really like indie gallery where, oh my God, yes. I'm going to tell you what happened inside this gallery because okay, so the gallery was like, so Michelle McCosker, she is a very, very incredible artist. Years ago, she was asked by the City of Sydney to dress the statues around Sydney, put clothes on them. So that was her that did that with a group of people, but mainly Michelle. She's done a lot of things. She runs or did run. I'm not sure she still does. It's Hibernian House is the place. And there's a gallery in Redfern. Shit, it's near the station. Anyway, she was doing all that stuff. Like, she was quite prominent in the little Sydney art scene, and her and her husband had this gallery, part owned with another. Look, a million people. So they ran this gallery. I'm really getting into the politics of this and making sure I don't forget part owners. Doesn't matter. So this gallery, right? This is the first little gallery they started. It's sort of really hip and underground and above ground, though. That makes sense. And it was weird. And the building was, a gust of wind would come and it would fall down. There was a lot of drug users. Of course there was. And it was Sydney, it was the art scene. Michelle never did that, in my mind. Never asked her. Pretty sure she didn't. So we were really young. So oh God, I'm sorry. So much information is coming into my brain and I can't get it all out and I'm getting out the really boring stuff. So let me just paint a picture. So you got my mum and dad. You've got me, who's a teenager, maybe 16, 17, 18, and my brothers who are 10, 11, 12. And the gallery, every year, the gallery would do a themed exhibition. For example, fish. And anyone could submit their work and it would go on display and you could buy it. And so every year, my family, we would all submit all this stuff. And we'd go to the gallery, go to the opening. It was great. It was so cool. There was a lot of cool stuff and you get to see your work on display. I sold a lot of mine. Oh my God, I'm so chuffed. Basically one year we're walking up these stairs because you can't use the lift because the lift is, you die if you use the lift. It's got a sign, feel free to use the lift, but you will die because the lift does not work. So we're going up all these stairs and they're old, wooden, rickety, lots of corrugated iron everywhere. Like there's a big atrium where you can see the sky and it's all open and you can hear like faint, weird noises. It's dark. They're all like warehouse apartments because it was an old, commercial building. I think a lot of fashion, where the fashion industry was. So it was just warehouse apartments. They didn't have bathrooms. So the bathrooms are out in the main corridor. It was gross and weird. And this one time I remember walking up and I think I was just there it was just mum and myself. My brothers weren't around. And we were walking up and there was this woman. This is a dark, dark story. There was this woman and she was crying and wailing. Now, I didn't know why at the time. I was like, oh, that's really sad. Someone must have passed away. And she's rocking backwards and forwards and she's like scratching her arm. And just like, she was having massive withdrawals. And mum was like, oh, let's just step over her and let's move forward. I don't think I should bring you here. And anyway, so that was my first experience of a heroin addict. Oh, well, I'm assuming heroin. I don't know. Yeah. So that was like, oh my God, Mum, I think her grandma passed away. Mum's like, no, Dal, she'll be right. Don't touch her. Oh, all right, Mum. Pure, beautiful, open heart mother I have. And we went into this gallery. So that was one experience of the gallery. Then there was another opening. And we as a family, so Mum, Dad, my three brothers, my nan and Pa, we all go to the opening exhibition for one of these themed nights. I think the theme was fairies, or like whimsical. And so literally my whole family's there because Shelley, her brother, her sister, her mum and dad, who was my aunt and uncle, were all there. Now, Michelle doesn't really know in terms of what's going to be happening that night. She gets some performance artists in, they do their thing, bloody blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so my whole family are literally sitting front row in this venue. We're all standing up. We're watching because this performance art's about to happen. Now, I'm, 16. My brothers are 11. And this guy comes out. Now, he's pretty much completely naked and he's got eggs, like chicken eggs, all around his junk, right? Just covering him with Glad wrap. So you can't actually see any willy. And so I was like, oh, this is weird. And he was like painted this weird orangey colour and he was a bug. Right? He was like a weird fly. And so his performance art was like just weird dancing. And so we're like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, art. Well done, art. And he's rolling around on the floor and like the eggs are supposed to break and they do break. But as they break, the eggs just disappear. And suddenly his dick is right in front of you. And you're like, art, yay. And I'm like, yes, get your dick out as a 16-year-old. Oh, this is great art. Oh, I love this. I'm just going to get a close-up look. And my grandfather and grandmother are sitting right in front of where this guy is rolling around with all these eggs on and is just like, bits come out. And it was like, oh, God. It's not something you want to be standing with your family to watch. At the end of it, my grandfather goes, oh, God. I mean, there was eggs, and then there was some sausage and eggs, and we all laughed. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Fade to black, credits roll. Okay, so then it gets even better. So the next year, there was another themed exhibition. I don't remember the theme of this one. There was another performance piece, and again, Michelle didn't know what the act was. It was just, this woman wants to do this performance art. So we're like, okay. All the family are back again. We're all here, ready. We were like, okay, we saw that guy get completely naked and roll around in some eggs. What could this be? Couldn't possibly be any more confronting. Oh, my God. It was a woman in a Santa suit, and she slowly took off the Santa suit, except for the hat she was wearing, and she was fully naked, and she spread her legs wide, and I was just like, oh, art? Oh, God. Like, 17, brother's 12. We're all standing there. My brothers are all like, yeah, get it out. Yeah, this is great. Finally, something for me. And I'm like, oh, put it away. And she was just open. And all of my family were just like, oh my God. We're all still just like, let's just get through this. Let's just, this is art. We'll just sit through. Yep. Okay, this is happening. Oh, would you, like looking at the roof, like looking away. My mum's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Meanwhile, you look over at Michelle, my cousin, who's running this. Her face is just like, oh my God, my family are here. My 11-year-old nephews are watching a woman strip and take things in and out of her vagina. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? My mum's like, okay, I think I'm going to take the kids to the back of the room. And I'm like, yeah, I'm with you, Mum. I'm coming. And my brother's like, no, we want to stay. This art is amazing. Oh, well done, art. And I was just like, just a stripper. Amazing. Needless to say, Michelle screened a lot of the performance pieces after that, and we may have never returned to the openings. Get it? Openings of that gallery again. We definitely went to more exhibitions. I mean, those exhibitions were amazing. Just going to have some of my coffee. I love how we went from car accidents to complete sex shows. What was the other time? Oh, I had my car got totaled on Victoria Road in Sydney. That's not a fun story. That's just like a $300,000 Audi just poof in the back of me, and that was that story. I've never been in an accident that I've caused, apart from hitting the building. Anyway, my God, there's so many things else I wanted to talk about. I'll leave the sauna chat to the next episode because we're 22 minutes in. I don't want to go over 20 minutes. Who can be bothered? I can split this into 2 podcasts. So I want to share with you a story about what happened when I walked into a shop. It's called Coach, and they do leather goods. It's like handbags. It's very upmarket. It's ritzy. The customer service people wear suits and like full on posh. So I go in there with a friend of mine because we're shopping at Chadstone in Melbourne. So I walk in and I'm immediately like, oh, so boring. And then I decided, I'm just going to have a seat. I'm just going to sit down because there was 2 beautiful chairs and a stool in the middle of the chairs. So I go and I sit down on this stool and I'm looking around. A lot of very wealthy women being like, does this come in a taupe brand? Like, this brand is too brand. I'd like a more taupe brand. Please go and have a look at the back. Please go. I need a taupe brand. I'm like, oh my God. Like, there's women here who had like 4 handbags already that they were using and they were buying more. And then they were like, oh, darling, I need to get the perfect gift for my daughter. I'm looking to spend $12,000, nothing less. Have a look at the back for me. I'm like, Jesus, like this shop is ritzy. So I'm sitting down on this stool and I'm just sitting there. I didn't want to sit in the big chairs. They were very intimidating, and when you sit on a chair and the position of the body makes you look like you're about 4 times bigger than you are. Like you're just sort of hunched in these chairs and you sit back and you just look horrific. Those were the types of chairs they had. So I was like, no, I'm just going to sit on this stool. No one else was sitting on the chairs, right? It was just a stool in the middle of the chairs. Then the retail assistant comes up to me and goes, at the top of his voice, so everyone could hear, says to me this, excuse me, sir, you're sitting on the table. Can you please move? And I was like, what? Next minute, 30 eyes are on me. Oh, how embarrassing. Oh my God, he's so embarrassed. Oh, I wouldn't be seen dead near him. The stool was a little table. So I had to move and sit in one of the chairs and look like Jabba the Hutt. And I was normally I'm not embarrassed, but this crowd of wealthy people, oh my God. And I look at this thing, I'm like, that's a table for what? What am I going to possibly, also sitting in the chair, I can't reach the table. It's a stool. It was a stool they were using as a table. It was like an Ottoman-esque thing. And it was perfect for my butt. And I sat in it and I felt comfortable. And he said, "Excuse me, sir," as if to like draw everyone's attention. "Excuse me, everyone, I have an announcement. Everyone, eyes to me, eyes to me. This disgusting fat portly gentleman who doesn't earn enough is sitting on the table." Anyway, I shouldn't have. That's not what happened. Shouldn't really have said the name of the store. They were lovely. They walked up and they just said, "Excuse me, sir, you're sitting on the table." And I was very embarrassed. And then I sat on the chair. Oh, I just got a text from Mum. "Hi, Christian. Are you awake?" Anyway, should I call her? I'll just give her a quick call. I might stop this mid-conversation. But anyway, that was my story. The retail people at Coach were actually really lovely. I don't want to get them into trouble. They politely to be honest, they politely said, "Excuse me, sir, you're sitting on the table." And I went, "How? Do I really have to move?" Oh, God. And then I had to move. And it was really embarrassing. Oh, let's call Mum. Mum. I'll just give her a quick buzz. Let's call my mother. Feel free to just stop listening now. This podcast officially ends as of now. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Christian.
Hi, Mum.
To make sure you're awake.
Yeah, I'm awake. It's quarter to 10.
Good. Hey?
It's a quarter to 10. Of course I'm awake.
Oh, okay. All right. I bumped into, I did yoga with Diane and Amber.
Oh.
And we went and had a coffee and I saw, the new baby, a little girl. She's 6 months old.
Oh.
And Diane was talking about Amy, and Amy apparently has made a couple of videos and posted them.
Has she?
And she uses her husband, and she was talking about exactly what you were talking about, what you did in Pennon Avenue, the newsletter, the restaurant.
Oh, my God. Okay. Just before, hold on. I'm going to talk about all those things in the next edition of Complete Drivel. I'm just recording my podcast. Let me just hit stop, and then we'll have a phone conversation.